Hello, hello, hello. A very warm welcome to everyone who joins us on this program, our friends, fans, stakeholders. Yes, stakeholders. It is Africa Rise with Susan West, and we're doing a special today. Usually, we will broadcast on Sunday. We will still broadcast this Sunday, but when there are important issues that needs to be addressed, then we will have to come come on live anytime we so you know deem it to be important. And today my guest is coming from Ghana, and hopefully that Ghana has a better telecommunication system than Nigeria, because our past broadcast was was almost impossible, so to speak, because we didn't have good service. Anyway, welcome to Africa Rise with Susan West. And as you join this broadcast, remember to share this broadcast, create watch parties, invite your friends and families to join us, especially on today's episode, because today we will be talking about the relevance of the African Union. And our guest today is going to be Advocate Sarfo Abebrese. I try to call it like Ghanaians would, but as we go on, I will learn to pronounce his name like a local word. So in a moment, I will be bringing Advocate Sarfo Abebrese. I used to think I can sound Ghanaian names. Anyway, in a moment, I will be bringing him on screen. As you join this broadcast, please remember to share, invite your friends, like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is _Susan West everywhere you go. So if you want me to be able to see your comments or questions, please watch from the page or from YouTube, or perhaps my watch party, because if you're watching from other watch parties, I won't be able to tell to see your comments and questions. Arolf Inat, welcome, wonderful program, he says. Thank you. Okay. So in a moment, I will be bringing on our guest. He's trying to sort out a few things behind the scene. So please stay. So just before we bring him on, by now, I'm sure a lot of us are aware of the dynamics of the African Union. And we are not pleased, so far so good, that at the African Union, it has been made known that nobody will be allowed to run against the sitting chairman of the African Union, who is in the person of Musa Faki Mahamat. And so we want to rub minds together. We want to proffer solutions to Africa's problem the African way. And so today's discussion, we're going to have Advocate Sarfo Abebrese, enlighten us more on the need, on the reason why he is Mahamat is coming unopposed, and why that should not be allowed to happen. Okay. Welcome, Advocate Sarfo Abebrese.
Thank you, Susan.
Welcome to Africa Rise.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear. Yes, better than it was before. So we are live now, and the discussion for today is the relevance of the African Union. Why are we asking of the relevance of the African Union? We're asking because Mr. Mahamat Faki Musa Faki have been the chairman of the African Union for the past 4 years. And it came to light recently that he will be returned unopposed. No one is allowed to stand elections against him. And the reason we do not know, because for some of us, we that follow what goes on, we do not think that he's done so well that we want him there for another 4 years. So please, Advocate Sarfo Abebrese, why is it important what is the reason, first of all, why Mahamat Faki should be returned unopposed?
Hello?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I didn't hear the whole of your question, but I think I can assume what it was, so I can take it up.
Right.
Sorry for the challenges that we're having, and sorry for, the miscalculation of the time, because GMT in Ghana is different from the time in Nigeria that you were working by, but it's all well and good. Basically, the African Union elections is coming up in February of next year. And under normal circumstances, nominations are to be filed and closed, by the 4th of September, so that we have all the candidates for the elections to go through the vetting process and all the other processes for the final elections to be held.
Right.
But at the moment, what we have is a situation where the African Union has published the list of all the candidates for the elections. We have elections for the chairperson position, elections for the deputy chairperson position, and elections for the commissions. We have about 7 or 8 commissions, and people file nominations for elections for all of them. The commissions are basically like in country perspective. We will say that we're going to have the elections for the president and the election for the vice president and elections for the ministers of state. That is the way, if you put it in local parlance, that's the way many people are going to understand it. So basically, what we have at the moment is that the African Union has closed the nominations and they've published their list. Unfortunately, the list for all the positions is good and okay. For a deputy chairperson position, we have 8 candidates made up of 3 ladies and 5 gentlemen. For the commissioner positions, we have as many as 17, 18 candidates vying for one position. We have as many as 13. I think the list that we have for the commissioners is 13 for a position. So all in all, with the exception of the presidency, so to speak, that is the chairmanship position, all of them are very heavily contested, which shows the level of interest and participation, for the African Union Commission. So if you look at all the levels of competition, it defies belief that the chairmanship, that is the most important position, is rather, is it like nobody is interested in the chairmanship? Why is it that we have only one candidate, running unopposed for the chairmanship position, when we have as many as 8 candidates running for the deputy chair position? We have as many as 16, 17, 14, 15 candidates running for each of the other commissioner positions. So that is where my organization, the Coalition of Supporters Unions of Africa, COSUA, that is a partner to the African Union to use sports supporting to build African unity. That is where we believe that there's some more than meets the eye, and that is where we filed and pursuing this petition for the African Union elections to be postponed, so that we get a much more representative, endeavor, to take place, because what we have at the moment is not something that can instill, democracy in any way in the African Union leadership. So that is why we are up in arms, so to speak, linking up with all other well-meaning Africans in the diaspora on the continent, with other civil society organizations and virtually everybody that wants to see a better Africa and a much more functional and democratic African Union, to link up with us and to make our voices heard and get sanity to prevail, so that at the end of the day, we can get an African Union that we all can trust in and that we all can contribute to.
Right. So, in your capacity as a lawyer, how would you, how do you think that the petition will make any difference? For instance, I think there are about 2 or 3 petitions out there asking that the elections be postponed. In your capacity as a lawyer, do you think that that will make a difference? Is it possible that it can be done to get them to postpone the elections?
Yeah, very much so. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here talking about it. The point is that this is the first time something like this is happening in the African Union. So we don't have in law what we call precedents to judge by. Say that, okay, something like this happened before and we did this and it happened. The closest that we have to precedents is the 2016 African Union elections, where we had a situation where at the close of nominations, as we have now, there were 3 candidates for the chairmanship position. Suomotu, in law, when we say Suomotu, that is, on its own, the commission decided that is not representative enough, so let's postpone the elections. No social media activity, no protests, no petitions were filed, no civil society protestations or anything. The commission on its own, and this is very important for us to note, the commission on its own, under the leadership of Madam Zuma from South Africa, took the decision that we cannot go into elections having only 3 candidates for the chairmanship position. Because, fair enough, yes, these are the 3 people that have come up. But at the end of the day, you need an election that takes cognizance of the original nature of the African Union. The African Union has 3 regions. We have Northern, Southern, Eastern, Central, and West. So under normal circumstances, even though it's not written in any rule, if you want a very representative African Union election, you want to see at least 5 candidates from the 5 sub-regions that will be representing each of the regions. So in 2016, the African Union itself said, no, we cannot hold the elections, let's postpone. Let's get more candidates. At least let's get 5 candidates that can represent each of the 5, sub-regions of Africa, for us to run the elections so that we can have a democratic election. We can have a credible election. We can have an election that everybody has confidence in the outcome, so that when we do elect one of them as our leader, the whole of Africa can rally behind him and run with him and support him, for us to go and pursue the objectives of the African Union for which it was set up. So the precedence that we have is 2016. It's not far off. It's 4 years ago. And incidentally, my sister, the biggest beneficiary of that decision was Faki Mahamat himself. Because at the close of nominations, when we had the 3 candidates, he wasn't part of it. He came in through the back door. Faki Mahamat, Faki Mahamat got registered to run for the chairmanship position in December 2016. In which month are we now? We are in September.
Yes.
Okay, we have October, November ahead of us. And again, if we had 3 candidates back then, and it wasn't enough for us to hold elections, why should it be enough for us to hold elections with only 1 candidate now? Look at the picture. It's not understandable how we can have a situation where one person standing on his own is democratic enough for us to go ahead and close nominations and elect him unopposed. But 4 years back, it wasn't democratic enough with three candidates. So in 2016, the elections were postponed. Eventually, we got 5 candidates, including the sitting chairman, Faki Mahamat, for us to have 5 candidates, and the voting went ahead. It went according to the rules. You know, come to think of it, in 2016, Faki Mahamat benefited from the democratic dispensation that Madam Zuma insisted on having, to the extent that he even had 2 or 3 real runs, because by the rules of the African Union, for you to be the chairperson or the deputy chairperson, you should be able to get at least 2/3 of the 55 votes. And again, let me emphasize for those that are joining us now, that the African Union elections for the chairmanship and for the deputy chairmanship is done only by the heads of state. So if you are not the president or the head government in your country, you don't vote. So it's only 55 people who vote. Now, for the 55 people who vote, any candidate we have to make sure that the candidate, it is not by simple majority. You have to get 2/3 of those 55 votes before you can be presented as a candidate that has been elected, to lead Africa for the 4 years ahead of you. In 2016, yes, Faki Mahamat came in late in December. We went for the polls. And for the first round, there was no clear winner. So we had to go for the real run. Okay, so on the 3rd real run, he finally got the number of votes that was needed to declare him the winner. Contrary to that, let's look at the 2016 deputy chairperson position, which was contested by 6 candidates. Okay, but over there, we had one candidate that won 45 votes right away. He won 45 votes right away. The other 5 candidates had to share the remaining 10 votes. So on which each one of them got 2 votes. So for the deputy chairperson position, it was very clear-cut. And incidentally, the candidate that won 45 votes outright, okay, is the current sitting deputy chairperson of the African Union, in the person of His Excellency Lawyer Thomas Kwesi Korte. Now, looking back at that situation and what has transpired in and within the past 4 years, when these 2 gentlemen have been at the helm of affairs of the African Union, a lot of water has passed under the bridge. Okay, because we've had a situation where something very, very dramatic happened in the course of their tenure. Okay, and I think everybody that has Africa at heart, that follows African politics at the moment, now knows about it. We had a situation where the then African Union ambassador to the United States of America, Her Excellency Dr. Arikana Chihombori Pao, made a startling discovery. Arikana Chihombori Pao discovered something that had been going on for over 50 years, that was very inimical to the interests of Africa. That was something that all Africans had not paid attention to. And as a mother, seeing her children's eggs being stolen by a foreign superpower, she couldn't keep quiet. So Madam Arikana Chihombori came out and blew it out that, look, France, a superpower that is supposed to be helping Africa, some people have a problem when I refer to them as a superpower. If they can sit there and siphon tens of billions of euros from African countries.
Mm.
They have to be a superpower to be able to do that.
Do that. Absolutely.
For 50 years. You know, after granting independence to all these African countries, you still sit on them to the point where you siphon their resources year by year, and nobody can say no to that.
Yes.
Okay, so when Arikana discovered that, she came out with it and said, wait a minute, this cannot continue. There has to be a stop. So somebody has to talk about this. And I, Mama Africa, I will talk about it. So she went out with it and blew it out. Instead of congratulating her that, well, I'm the chairperson of the African Union, I gave you a job, and you've done it very well, and we're going to be very happy with you and maybe promote you to the point of becoming the African Union ambassador to the whole United Nations. Rather, she got a sack. And guess who sacked her? The sitting, the then and the now chairperson of the African Union, you know, said, Madam, can you please leave your seat and take a bow and get out of my government, so to speak. That was shocking. That was, you know, very, very shocking, very, very unbelievable to happen. Because what we were expecting was that, look, this is a heroine of the continent of Africa. We're talking of African emancipation. We're talking of liberation. We're talking of, you know, everything that every African wants to, you know, thrive on. And if we have a situation where, you know, a foreign power, for those who don't want me to say superpower, maybe I can say foreign power, you know, is siphoning all these billions from Africa, and then somebody sees it and talks about it, and that is a crime enough for the person to lose her job, her position, then that calls for all of Africa to rise up and talk. And many people, civil society, a lot of petitions went around for her to be reinstated. Faki Mahamat kept an adamant posture. And we got to know, because it wasn't difficult it's not difficult for anybody to fathom, you know, by which authority he acted, because the discovery was against a specific, you know, power. It was against a specific country. It was against Mr. Macron and his France. So if the head of the African Union can, you know, decide to fire her just because, you know, France says he should do so, and every plea from all the Africans would fall on deaf ears, then we know by which power he was acting. And we know that whichever power by which he was acting was adverse, you know, to the interests of Africa. Because, you know, what she did and said was in favor of Africa. So at that point, that was a point where many people started looking beyond their shoulders and wondering, are we having, you know, a really, truly independent, united, emancipated Africa, the way our forebears, you know, envisaged when they were fighting for independence in each of the now independent, you know, in quote, 55 countries of Africa? It was at that point that the realization, you know, got to us that we need to take a second look at what we, you know, understand to be Pan-African emancipation and Africa freedom and Africa liberty and all that. And some of us, you know, got to that point of saying, well, maybe we can still tolerate and keep calm, because we know that African Union elections are coming up, you know, and 2020 will be going to the polls. And we know for sure is that there are people, for example, we know that the deputy chairperson, His Excellency Ambassador Kwesi Korte, had done remarkably well, you know, holding the fort as the second most powerful person in that African Union Commission, you know, We know who Arikana, what Arikana is made up of. So at the end of the day, we were believing and thinking that, you know, we can have patience and move to the end of the tenure, and then, you know, when the time comes for elections, we can make our voices heard. And I believe that many other Africans that are hearing us, you know, are also asking the same questions. How come that 2020 comes and with all this abysmal record, and I say abysmal record without any apologies, because we have seen even within the AU Commission setup, right there in Addis Ababa, we have seen the number of demonstrations that keep coming up, even among the workers of the African Union Commission, saying that we have an inept administration in place and we cannot work with it. We have, you know, corruption. We have everything that, I mean, is repugnant, you know, to the sensibility of Africa. Quite apart from the nepotism and everything else, you know, bowing to other powers, you know, when we have an African Union leader, we expect that leader to be cast in the mold of the Kwame Nkrumahs, to be cast in the mold of the Nelson Mandelas, to be cast in the mold of Julius Nyerere's, and all of them, to stand up to the white man and say, look, this is Africa, and this is what, you know, was bequeathed to us as Africans, and this is what we stand for.
Yes.
But if you have a leader that cannot take that stand, and at the end of the day, that cannot also run a democratic, you know, administration right there in the office in the African Union. Otherwise, all these workers will not be complaining about arbitrary, you know, stacking, arbitrarily loss of jobs, dismissals here and there. Can't we hear them complaining every day? Can't we hear their cry? Even if we didn't see Arikane, we've seen many others. There were a lot of orchestrations even to try and remove his own deputy, Ambassador Kwesi also from his position.
Right.
So we wonder how on earth nominations will come up in 2020 that everybody was waiting for. And Fani Mahamat is the only candidate. He is running unopposed. And all these 55 heads of states of Africa, nobody is saying anything. It is such a mystery, my sister. We cannot believe it. Because, again, I keep referring to 2016. If 3 candidates were there and it wasn't representative enough, so it had to be postponed, why can't they, for once, listen to the people of Africa, the citizens of Africa, the civil society organizations, and say, let democracy reign? How can they impose, you know, that one candidate on us and say, yes, we finished with nominations, he's the only one, so let him run, no matter what. We don't care. That is what we are worried about, and that is what we're complaining about, and that is what we cannot accept.
Right. Now we know Dr. Arikana Chayombori, you can call her Mama Africa, she has come out, she has spilled the beans. We now know what the secret is, what is going on at the African Union. We're no longer in the dark. I mean, just with all the protests going on, even in amongst the staff of the African Union, anyone with a little bit of honor and integrity would have, you know, taken back whatever decisions Mahamat have taken. You know, if he had any sense of responsibility towards Africa, if he had any sense of Pan-Africanism in him, he would have at this point decided to make a turnaround, but he hasn't. And for that reason, the rest of Africa, every African must know what is going on, and we must sign that petition. We must make sure that we sign the petition to make sure that the elections at the African Union is postponed, and so that we can have viable people, Pan-Africanists, come and have the opportunity to run and begin to give us what we so desire as Africans and what we deserve. You know, just a few days ago, the ECOWAS chairmanship was handed over from Chad to Ghana, and one of the things President Kufuor-Addo talked about, one of his agendas will be to see that I'm not sure where we have reached ever since the revelation of how France takes monies from francophone countries to their banks and lends it back to them at high. I'm not sure how far we've gone with that. And the reason why we need to be informed on the African continent is because we cannot afford to have a Faki still sitting for another 4 years, which means he will be there to frustrate every forward movement the continent is trying to make, especially when it comes to making sure that, according to what President Kufuor-Addo's dream is, to make sure that he, at least West African francophone countries, that they are finally let out of the grip of France and the Bank of France. So please go ahead and educate us on where we are right now as far as the francophone countries taking the monies to France and so on and so forth. Just educate us on that and why it is so important that the African Union must get it right this next election.
Great, my sister. Right now, the actual update on that issue is shrouded in secrecy. It's very, very difficult for us in civil society to know exactly what the current situation is. After the lambast that came about after Madame Arikane's expose, you know, we had a situation where some announcements came through social media that France had backed down and that they were not going to continue to siphon all these monies from Africa anymore. One thing is clear: France never denied what Arikana, you know, said. France never came out to debunk that it wasn't true. And the African Union itself was never able to officially issue a statement to say that she was lying.
Right.
So, in the absence of any contrary, you know, statement, we believe and we accept that what she said was the truth. If what she said was the truth, then it means that it's either France wants to continue to perpetuate that kind of fraud upon Africa, or they have truly backed out. If you ask me, you know, both as a lawyer and as a civil society leader, I will tell you that even if they actually genuinely or truly issued that statement, it was only to calm down the waters, and that they do not intend, you know, to abide by any truth or any system whereby they wanna, you know, stop, you know, what we are complaining about. Why do I say so? I say so because the manner in which this African Union nominations has been conducted is very, very, very baffling. Very baffling to the extent that every day, all the things that have taken place show a very systematic planning that has gone on. You know, that defies belief and clear understanding. Look, ECOWAS, those of us in West Africa, I'm speaking from Ghana right now, those of us in West Africa, we understood that our nomination deadline was the 16th of July.
Right.
Okay. And then it got extended to the 10th of August. Even that extension to the 10th of August, a lot of us were kept in the dark by making us believe that there wasn't even really a deadline. And I will tell you this because I was leading the campaign for the nomination of His Excellency Kwesi Korte for the chairmanship of the African Union. My organization, as an African Union partner, took it upon ourselves to lobby, and I use the word advisedly, to lobby His Excellency Kwesi Korte to tell him that, look, things have gone very, very wrong at the AU Commission. You are a Pan-Africanist. You are a strong lawyer. You know what has gone on is wrong. It's not the best for the continent. Why do you keep saying that at the end of your 4-year term, you are retiring to go and sit at home and watch Africa go down the drain. All the work that you've done for the 4 years, you need to step up and take a stand for Africa and rescue Africa from these doldrums that we are finding ourselves in. We took about 3 to 4 months to lobby His Excellency Kwesi Kwarteng to the point where we virtually forced him to finally write to the Ghana government, to His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, that now I will run, so nominate me. Immediately we heard that we, COSWA Ghana, the Ghana branch of my organization, we also wrote to the government, okay, and told the government that, look, we are in support of His Excellency Kwesi Kwarteng. He is just one step, you know, from the 17th floor to the 18th floor of the AU building, as I love to refer to. And this is somebody that the heads of state of Africa have so much confidence in. This is somebody that ran for the elections the first time and made a record. No leader has ever won that much votes, 45 out of 55 votes. So we believe that if Kwesi Kwarteng would step up and be nominated by the Ghana government to run, he was going to win hands down against Faki Mahamat, because we know that everybody, you know, was kind of fed up with Faki Mahamat. So we made also representations to the Ghana government. The Ghana government invited us, you know, because of COVID, had a virtual meeting where we were able to bring in about 8 other countries, leaders of COSWA, into that meeting with the government of Ghana. We made our case, and we represented clearly to the Ghana government that we were going to support His Excellency Kwesi Kwarteng and help run his campaign all over Africa for him to take Africa back to where we all want it to be. Lo and behold, before the elections, the nominations deadline of the 10th of August, we heard that another candidate had come into the picture. And that was no less a person than the African, the ECOWAS representative of the United Nations. That is His Excellency Mohammed Ibn Chambers had also come into the picture. We said, wow, that is welcome. At least we will have a kind of competition. The Ghana government will have a choice between two Ghanaians. Both of them are eminent, you know, well-established, very reputable, you know, career diplomats, you know, because His Excellency Ibn Chambers had been the chairman of ECOWAS, ECOWAS Commission in Abuja for several years. And he had also signed a mandate for my organization. You know, in fact, he even went to the extent of using the ECOWAS structures to try and get us funding with EcoBank. So he was a gentleman that we also believed in. So we came out and said, okay, Ghana government, that is nice. And either of the two can beat Faki Mahamat. So go ahead. Let's not lose the deadline. Go ahead and nominate one of them. In fact, on the deadline day, we issued a statement to say it is today or never. Today or never, in the sense that that day on the 10th of last month was the deadline for West Africa to come up with a candidate. And guess what? All the other 15, 16 countries had kept their candidates and hoped that Ghana was going to take that step. So none of the countries came up with a nomination. Everybody was looking at Ghana, and here was deadline day, and Ghana government had to come up with a candidate. And His Excellency President Akufo-Addo came out, you know, with a nomination for Mohammed Ibn Chambers, another prolific lawyer, just like Kwesi Kwarteng. And we came out and said, okay, congratulations. We want to support him as well. We just want the African Union safe.
Yes.
Now, my sister, unbelievably, that euphoria lasted for only 2 days. We just can't understand. Nobody can put a finger on it, unless maybe you can try and get, you know, His Excellency Mohammed Ibn Chambers on a one-on-one interview for him to tell the world what really happened. because 2 days after his nomination, when the West Africa deadline had passed, he came out with a statement to say that he's not running. He had chickened out. Why have you chickened out? He says, I'm not running after my consultations with Chad. That is the example. Yes. So he is saying that you nominated me to go and take Chad out. But after talking to Chad, I'm no longer running. So I pulled out. Yes.
Wow.
So Ghana lost the nomination slot. The whole of West Africa lost the nomination slot. But fortunately for us, the nomination slot for the rest of Africa had not closed. Of course, Central Africa already had their candidate in Faki Mahamat. So we had to go to SADC. And to go to SADC, we had to approach Her Excellency, Madame Arikana Chihombo Rikwao.
Yes.
She had allowed us to go and run after Kwesi Korte because she had indicated her support for Kwesi Korte and said, okay, if Kwesi Korte would run, let's all combine and let's all unite our efforts and support him.
Yes.
Now we had to go back to her and say, well, unfortunately, Kwesi Korte didn't run. And Kwesi Korte didn't run, and Ghana didn't run, and West Africa didn't run. Because the candidate that we had put our hopes on, that is His Excellency Mohamed Ibn Chambers, says he has gone to consult Chad, so he won't run. Now, Arikana had to get back, on track and say, okay, let's see if I can put in an application and come in and run, because we cannot accept a situation where Faki Mahamat runs unopposed.
Yes.
Now, with the benefit of hindsight, okay, she did the right thing. She indicated to her government, her president of Zimbabwe, and we understand that some form of, interactions and negotiations took place. Yes. But again, we had a surprising, development where SADC, also came out to say, well, we have Zimbabwe telling us that they want, their candidate to be nominated, but unfortunately, we still want to go with the incumbent Faki Mahamat. But my sister, before that was done, again, with the benefit of hindsight, Her Excellency Arikana Chihombo Rikwao went ahead of them and filed an official nomination on the website of the African Union. And that is why we are crying out loud now. Because even if SADC did not nominate her, even if her president did not nominate her, what happened to the nomination that she herself filed on the African Union website?
Yes.
And we are asking that pertinent question because we know that from the list of the nominees that has been presented to us by the African Union itself, we have many of them that were not nominated by their heads of state. We have many of them that were nominated because they themselves filed their nomination online at the African Union Commission. So how come we have over 10 candidates that filed online?
Yes.
All 9 of them are there on the list. Her Excellency Arikana Chihombo Rikwao alone is missing. That is what we are called. That is why we call it the African Union elections to be postponed for these matters to be gone into. We cannot have a situation where somebody files a nomination and the nomination is accepted online, it goes through, okay, and then the list comes out and her name is not on it. And you are telling us that, well, SADC was supposed to have nominated her, her country, Zimbabwe, was supposed to have supported her nomination. If she didn't file the nomination, where would the president of her country come in to come and support? So we are saying that, tell us what happened to her nomination that she filed. She has the records. I have a copy of the confirmation of nomination that she filed online at the African Union website. What happened to it? who took it out?
Mm.
Who took it out of the AU Commission headquarters? Who got rid of it?
Mm.
We need to get answers to this, because if these things keep happening like this, and we allow Faki Mahamat to run unopposed because he's doing his homework well
Mm.
and making sure she doesn't get into opposition, and
Mm.
surprisingly, 55 heads of states of 55 independent African countries that are supposed to know what real African liberation amounts to.
Right.
We have people sitting on the seats of Kwame Nkrumah and, Shehu Shagari and, everybody, Nelson Mandela.
Mm.
And now they are turning around to tell us that it's okay for the African Union seat to be confiscated by someone because he has a superpower behind him. And no, yes, because democratic principles, if you look at Agenda 2063, the African Union is the one preaching about Pan-Africanism, African unity, democracy, good governance and everything. And we can sit down and say that one man running for elections for the African Union chairperson is good enough. And we have all 55 heads of states clapping. Now, if you come into their individual country, look at what is happening in Mali. We have ECOWAS crying foul that military rulers have taken over a country of democratic rule. Yes, they have a right to cry foul. But if you can see these things in the individual countries, why can't you see it at the helm of the continental, governance body? Why can't you see it? If any of them should, let any of them try telling their citizens, for example, I'm a Ghanaian, let President Nana Akufo-Addo try telling Ghanaians that, look, we are going to have elections in December, but nobody is running. I'm the only candidate. And let's see what will happen in this country, Ghana. Let any of them try that in any other country of Africa. And let us see what is going to happen. Or better still, let me put it this way. When they were in opposition, each one of them, won legitimate elections in his own country to become the leader of the country. Can you imagine a situation where at the time they were trying to run for presidency in their own country, the incumbent came up and told them that no opposition, I'm the only candidate running? Would they have agreed? That is a question we need to ask each one of them. Would they have agreed? In this country, President Nana Akufo-Addo won the elections, by overwhelming majority vote from the then incumbent President John, Mahama. Can we imagine 5 years back when President Akufo-Addo filed his nomination and he was told by the Electoral Commission in Ghana that your nomination is missing, so you cannot run, and that the incumbent president is the only one running? Would he have agreed? That is a question we need to ask ourselves. That is a question we need to ask each one of the 55 heads of state. How can they come and tell us now that we are running elections for African Union leadership, but the incumbent is going unopposed and all of us, we agree? What really is happening on the ground? What has happened for Africa to become like this? These are questions we are seeking answers to. So we are telling them it's not only COSWA, my organization, we have the Kwame Nkrumah, Ideological Institute. They have also filed a petition on change.org. We have filed ours on avas.org. Let me take my time to mention it so that everybody listening to us can go online and sign that petition. We need everybody that believes in Africa to sign. At least those two petitions are online and they are active and they are running. AVAAZ, avaz.org. Okay? AVAAZ. Z or Z. You are in London, so let me say Z. But if you are listening to us from the United States, we have to say Z. Okay. So AVAAZ or AVAAZ.org. When you go there, you will see the closer petition. Please sign it up and share to all Africans that want to see democracy returning to the helm of affairs at the AU Commission, to sign that the petition and to let our voices be heard. For the petition for the Kwame Nkrumah Ideological Institute, it is on change.org. Change.org. When you go there, you will see a petition, Africa is not for sale. Africa is not for sale. Please sign it and please share and let all Africans and people of African descent in the diaspora everywhere also sign it. This is the time for us to save this continent, my sister. If we sit down for this, you know, hello?
I can hear you.
Yeah, if we sit down for this, you know, situation to persist, and we have a non-performing African Union leader, okay, that is not interested in fighting against foreign domination of Africa, but rather to sell us off, as is happening. And our political leaders in all these 55 countries are allowing him to do that.
Yes.
The voices of the people is the voice of God. And in all these countries, it is we, the citizens, that vote our leaders into position.
Absolutely.
And so we need to let them understand. The citizens of Africa want African liberation. We want Pan-Africanism to reign. We want democracy. The same way we want democracy in our individual countries, we want democracy also in the continent of Africa at the helm of the AU. And we need these elections to be postponed. We need Arikane's nomination to be restored. Whoever took it out of the system has to replace it. And if they want to go and give all the 55 votes to Faki Mahamat, let them do that in a democratic election. At least put her in, and then you come and tell us, all of us, we don't have any conscience, so we are, all of us, we've cast our vote for Faki Mahamat. At least that would be, you know, a decision that our leaders have taken and they are prepared to own up to. But for them to turn around and tell us that the nominations are missing, so the man is going on the post, we cannot accept that.
No, we will not accept that. We will not accept it. From what you have said, from what you have said so far, it is not a precedent has been set prior to now that an individual can go on the African Union website and fill out the form and say that I am running for the chairperson of the African Union. So it means that it has been allowed before. Therefore, it is not something that is going to be bending the hand to allow Dr. Arikana to run. Now, it is quite clear that Mr. Faki came in through the back door. First, we erred at the point where we let him come in through the back door, because anyone that has something good to offer would not want to come in through the back door. I don't want to be insulting, but I mean, there's only the only people who come in through the back door are people who have very ill intentions. So in a dispensation such as this that we have, people are now awoken. People are now aware of what is going on the African continent. We will make sure, please, guys, as you're watching, you can see scrolling on the screen, go to avaz.org to sign the petition. There is another one from Change. I think, is it Change? There's a second petition. I didn't quite get that one.
Yeah, it's change.org.
Change.org. And please sign the petition that says African Union elections should be postponed. So please, this is the point where we wake up as Africans, young Africans, middle-aged Africans, Africans of, you know, it doesn't matter the age you're in. If you want to live a better Africa than what we have right now, it is your responsibility to make sure that this petition is signed. The reason why they are trying to frustrate, the reason why they had to take down the the form for Dr. Arikana, it is quite clear that the person in position of authority right now is at the beck and call of France. I mean, for we don't need to keep reiterating the fact that we sit down and all we do is point fingers. We're quick to say that the African Union is a charade. The African Union is a toothless bulldog. This is the time we have. This is an opportunity we have to make sure that it is no longer a toothless bulldog. We want to make sure that the African Union can bark and as well bite when the need be. So please go to this website. Now, coming back to what needs to be done at the African Union. Can you hear me? Oh, I can't hear you. Your sound is gone. Please try to sort it out. Yes, I'll just wait for his sound to be sorted out. In the meantime, I will keep talking, and go to change.org. There is a petition out there asking that the African Union election be postponed. Why? The reason is because they have played some game to the people who are the rights people who should be leading those offices are not allowed. You know, so now what they've done is play a game where they say it is now closed. Therefore, this man, Mr. Faki Musa Mahamat, is going to come back unopposed. And we don't want that. Do it for the sake of your children. Do it for the sake of the future generation. We still have time to salvage this Africa. So please go to others. You can see it scrolling on the screen. I will type in later when we're able to get Advocate Sarfo back. I'm going to type on the other site where you can sign this petition. It is very, very important. I can see you, Rahina. I can see you, Arof Inat. I can see you, Kali Kojo, Idongesit Upong, Washington Stanley. I can see you, and Ekele Diri Chineke. I can see all of you. And this is the point where we want to make sure that this petition is signed. So please share. I will bring back Advocate Sarfo Abebrese.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Very good. Yeah, right. You are perfectly right. We need to be together as Africans. You know, one thing that I've noticed is that many of us we are guilty of apathy when it comes to African Union matters and African Union politics and African Union elections and all that. We are very, very active when it comes to the politics of our own countries, individual countries. We take up active part in it. We go for democracy and insist on human rights and administrative justice and everything when it comes to our own country's elections. But it's so amazing that in Africa, when it comes to the matters of the African Union, a lot of people don't even bother. And that is how come things like this can happen, you know, to us. What we don't realize is that if we do not take keen interest in what happens at the African Union, when decisions are taken there, the decisions spiral down, you know, to the individual countries. And in this particular, situation, what is going to happen is that it is posterity that is going to pay the biggest price. It is the natural resources that, you know, the great God Almighty has implanted in Africa, that all these foreign powers are very much interested in siphoning out of our hands to keep us poor, to keep us destitute, to keep us homeless, to keep us as beggars that always have to go to their whims and caprices because we have nowhere to go and we have nothing. But we are not the poorest continent on earth. In reality, we are the richest continent on earth. Because what is implanted in our land, God Almighty put about 43%
Yes.
of the wealth resources on this soil of ours.
Mm.
And that is why we are suffering all the, inhumane treatment and everything that we've suffered. But guess
Yeah.
what? God made us strong and powerful people. We have
Yes.
survived everything. We have survived slavery. We have survived colonialism. We have survived
Yes.
neo-colonialism. And we will survive this one too, because we are
Absolutely.
strong people. And all we need to do now is to take attention. Just pause for a moment and start getting a bit interested in the matters of the African Union leadership, and for
Yeah.
us to know and question these things. Because the moment our leaders get to know that we are now very much interested in what is happening in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa,
Yes.
they will sit up and they will do the right thing. Because guess what? They know that if they can deliver all their electoral and electioneering promises in their respective countries, but fail the continent of Africa at the AU level, we will still count it as failure when it comes to voting for them in our national elections in the various countries. That is the extent we need to get to for them to sit up and do the right thing for us at the African Union level.
Right. Um, I was listening to you. At this point, I want to ask you though, what do we need to
Yes.
do? Or I think we have matured to the point where we as African citizens want to be the ones to choose who heads the African Union. We have seen the politics. Yes, we have seen the
Yes.
politics that goes on with the presidents
Yes.
or the heads of state of the countries having the power to nominate or saying to someone who they don't like or who does not who is going to give them trouble if they don't do the right thing, saying to them, no, you're not going to go. So what do we need to do? We as ordinary Africans, every African country on the continent want to be the ones, we want to be able to be the ones to cast a vote to say that when the next elections, after hopefully we get to the point where Mahamat Faki is not returned, and then we get to the next level, we want to be able to vote in different countries on the African continent to say that regardless of where you come from, whether you're South African, Zimbabwean, Ghanaian, Nigerian, Ethiopian, or Madagascar, anywhere you come from, it doesn't matter. What we want is someone who has Africa at heart, a Pan-African spirit to hold that office. Because essentially what the African Union chairmanship is that you as a leader, you are the president of Africa. So what do we
Yes.
need to do? Do we need to sign a petition for
Well,
that one as well?
well, at the moment, I think the first thing we need to get, out of the way is this imposition of a candidate on all of us that he's unopposed and he's the only one running. Let's get around it first. But of course, I do agree with you. It has elicited, this current situation has elicited a lot of, deeper thought into how could we even end up like this. And I know I've been on one TV program where the host was also advocating the same thing, that look, can't we even get a situation where everybody in Africa will have a direct say in who leads us at the AU by having a vote, the same way we all have votes in our respective countries. And
Yes.
we were thinking, okay, that could be as much as about 1 billion votes, And he also reviewed that with modern technology, it is still possible for almost everybody to be able to vote, because it can be done by virtual, whatever. If we want to do it, we can work things out within the next 4 years, and we can get it set up and we can do that. That is something that would be very interesting to consider, because it definitely is not democratic where we leave the destiny, of this continent of Africa in one man's hand because 55 heads of state say that is what they want, even if the millions and billions of their citizens don't want it so. It can never be democratic in that way. So yes, my sister, me and my organization, I think we will be very much interested in supporting any move like that, because we want to see democracy thriving in Africa. We want to see freedom, and we want to see, real Pan-Africanist emancipation the same way our forefathers fought for and, established for us. That is
Right.
what we want to see.
And finally, I want to ask you, with KOSWA, you've been able to achieve a lot. Back home in Ghana, you have been able to use the platform that you have to bring together fans, football fans, who used to be at the throat of each other when they played. You've been able to galvanize and bring them together so that when the match is going on, when Ghana is on an international stage, that they come together. If any of the local league is representing Ghana, that they come together and support each other. You've been able to achieve that. So we're looking forward to seeing how you can use your experience from that level to bring together Africa, to coming together, to agreeing that regardless of where you come from, north, south, east, or west, or central, that the African Union is our responsibility, and we should rally round whoever that is qualified enough and Pan-Africanist enough to hold that position.
Yes, my sister, thanks very much for that. At the moment, that is where we are. We are at the point of realizing the dream of achieving African unity with the KOSWA concept. Because what it means is that, we mobilize all Africans to support African nations engaged in international tournaments. We saw that at the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, where we wait for about 3 years before the World Cup to make, all of Africa throw their weight behind the African team. And you remember that when Ghana became the most prominent African team, we had a lot of support coming from all the African countries for Ghana. That is what KOSWA does. And we never thought that we would be thrown into the politics of events at the African Union, even though we are politically a partner to the African Union. Our motive and our vision, has always been to use force to bring African unity. But at the moment, there's this hurdle that we need to clear. And after that, then we'll be getting back to business as usual, with the 2021 FIFA Confederations World Cup, 2022 World Cup in Qatar, and all that. And when the time comes, I believe, every one of you, your listeners and your viewers, will join forces with us. All we do is to rally African support for African teams in global competitions because we stand for Africa.
Right. And your parting words for today?
My parting words for today is that this one too shall pass. As I said, Africans, we are made special by the Almighty God. That is why He could plant so much wealth and resources on our soil. He knows we are strong. He knows we are capable. He is our keeper. And if we have survived colonialism, and we have survived slavery, and we have survived everything that they've thrown at us, we will survive this one too. It's just that this one, it needs, self-belief from us. Because no matter what the foreign superpowers will do, if our leaders, if our heads of state stood their grounds, we wouldn't be where we are. So it is something we with. Keep signing the petitions, keep supporting the protests, keep letting our voices be heard so that we can get over this hurdle now and move into the future with a democratically elected leader at the helm of affairs of the African Union, and everything else will follow through. Thank you very much, my sister.
You're very welcome. And with that, in that Pan-African spirit, even though I said that was the last thing, I can't help but ask this question that one of the viewers have sent in. And the reason I want to ask it is because if we're fighting to be together as Africa, one Africa, and then in little microcosms, we end up doing things or bringing up rules or laws that it bites and negates the progress we're supposed to make as Africans. So Washington Stanley says, please, sir, what's your stand with regards to the $1 million levy imposed upon Nigeria businessmen and women in Ghana by Ghana government?
Is that a question for me?
Yes.
Well, I don't know exactly which particular levy he is talking about, but what I know is that in Ghana, if any foreign country, okay, by our laws, our company's code, if you are a businessman, that is not a Ghanaian, but you come to Ghana to come and invest in Ghana, the benchmark for your investment is $1 million. If you are registering a foreign company in Ghana for investment, that is the amount of money you are supposed to bring with you to Ghana and show to the Ghana government that I'm coming as an investor, a foreign investor. I'm not a Ghanaian, but I need you to give me a company registration certificate of my company to do business in Ghana. But let me say that $1 million, we actually have several categories of it. If we have another one that the benchmark is $500,000, but it is your own money. It is not money that the Ghana government takes from you. If you are registering a local company, your benchmark is $200,000 to show that you are capable of investing into the economy of the country. That
Right.
virtually has nothing to do with whether you are a Nigerian or a Congolese or an American or a Tunisian. Once it is not a Ghanaian business, that is the investment capital that you are supposed to bring into Ghana to invest. But that is your own money. When you bring the money in Ghana, it is your investment to run your own company. The government of Ghana doesn't take that money from you.
Thank you for that clarification. Thank you for that clarification. The reason I'm thanking you is because I have mentioned on this program as well why that was not, that didn't sound nice, good at all. Because I now understand these are the laws of your country in Ghana, and the money is not to be given to the Ghanaian government. It is to
not at all. Not at all. After your incorporation,
enough capital to start your own business when you come. Right.
Right. And you use
Thank you
the
so
money
very much. I know that was not part of what we were here to talk about, but we needed. Go ahead.
Hello.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't hear the question. Did you ask another question?
Oh no. We're good. We're good for today. Thank you so very much for coming on African Life West.
Thank you.
Until we get to the point where we're happy as ordinary citizens, we will have to have you back here over and again as events unfold to keep us
abreast. The pleasure will be mine, my sister. The pleasure will be mine. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my friends and family that always make sure that you're here. I know that a lot of comments must have come in that I couldn't see. I couldn't see them because some of you are watching from watch parties. But for people who are watching on my page or from YouTube or from my watch party, I'm able to read. But as the program comes to a conclusion, I will be able to read your comments. And so whatever comments or questions that I need to respond to, I still have an opportunity to do so. But in the meantime, I just wanted to remind us, please go to avaz.org, sign the petition to postpone the African Union elections for 2020. The reason is because it has to be a fair playing ground for everybody, especially when the person holding the position of the chairmanship right now is not, it doesn't have our interest at heart. That is blatantly clear. So please go there. There is also another change.org. There's another petition there to the same effect. So please do go and sign and share the petition with your friends, family, and your community. And thank you so much for joining us. Washington Stanley, as always, I appreciate. I have there's a fan, there's someone, I'm trying to remember his name. Hondu's something. Sorry, you know who I'm talking about. Thank you for joining. And as usual, our broadcast on Sunday still remains, and I will be broadcasting who the person is soon as this broadcast is over. Thank you so very much, and remember to keep the Pan-African spirit alive. Remember that whatever you do today will yield its fruits tomorrow. So whether you are concerned or not, one way or the other, it will affect you. So please take it as your responsibility to make sure that Africa unites and that Africa is given her fair share of good leadership, and accountable leaders only will be allowed to hold office. All right. Until Sunday, it is goodbye and God bless you. Take care. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow and like us on Facebook and Instagram. Take care now. Bye bye.